years, and we are really dedicated to supporting African researchers, emerging researchers, masters and PhD. And what we've been doing over the years is using WhatsApp and Zoom and different platforms to organize webinars, to organize research presentations, and also having discussions on the WhatsApp page so that members can work on their research and also become better researchers. So today we are honored to have one of us, a great member. I've known her for some time now. She's a great researcher, and I'm going to read her profile so that we know who she is. And then she will take us through a very critical part of our research, which is the literature review. Last week, we also had a discussion on how to source literature. So today it's an extension of that because many people have told us they're really struggling to make sense of literature, to manage the literature. So today, Dr. Josephine will really help us to continue unpacking this topic. So Dr. Josephine Mwangi is a PhD holder and master's also in public health and master's in MA. She's a public health professional and an interdisciplinary researcher. She earned her PhD in health behavior from Indiana University, Bloomington, where I hope I've not mispronounced it, Bloomington, where her research focused on behavioral and structural influences on health and healthcare delivery. She holds a master's degree in public health and African studies from Ohio University. She also holds a Bachelor of Education degree from Moi University in Kenya. Currently, she serves as a part-time lecturer in the Department of Environmental and Occupational Health at Kenyatta University, and she's also an affiliate member at the African Studies Center, Leiden in Netherlands. She also works as the International Partnership Liaison for Indiana University, collaborations with Kabarak University and Kenyatta University. Her expertise are in public health education and research, qualitative. She's quite a guru in qualitative research, methods, health program design, implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. Thank you, Dr. Josephine, for giving us your time this Friday evening, and we welcome you to take us through the session today. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much for the introduction and even for having me. First, I want to apologize to the team that I'm not able for some reason. I'm currently on a postdoctoral research stay at the University of Bayreuth in Germany. And for some reason, I'm still navigating the assistant. So I'm not able to use the videos. So bear with me for that. I really wanted for you at least to see who is presenting, but maybe I still have another presentation. We'll see each other next time. So bear with me for that. I hope I'm audible. Please give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, just to make sure we are on the same page. Just any form of reaction. Thank you. And also I'll give some flowers to Oleria for what she has been doing for you. And I call her the unsung hero because she does all this behind the scenes and nobody, and I know she has left a mark to so many people. So thank you so much, Aurelia, and all protocols observed. Allow me to dive into my presentation. Before I present, as I share my screen, before I present, I'll just want to give an overview, a heads up. Are you able to see my screen? I'm asking because I'm using a browser. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
A heads up is that I don't, the way I have my presentation set up, it may not have a lot of notes, but I made it more, I'll be demonstrating a lot. So the recording may be more helpful than the notes, but I'll still offer like few slides because they are resources that I feel that they are important. This is not this is just my own, from my own end, literature management, or just how to review the literature. Um, um, for, Let me see. First, to start with, how the purpose of your data or your literature will determine how you are able to manage the literature. And so they're depending whether you just need your work, maybe just for literature review, you are designing a study, you just want to identify a gap, that could be one purpose. Maybe you already have a you already have you have a study and you have already identified a gap, but now you're looking for literatures, maybe to write the introduction section or maybe write the discussion, or you could be maybe you need the literature for a systematic review, a literature review. So depending with the purpose, why am I looking for the research, or why am I interested in the research? Of course, that will determine the type of the method or the approach that we will use. So that's what I would say is the overview. So some of it may not be, so the information that I might give may be helpful to some, and some sections may not be helpful to you because it depends on the purpose. Why do I need this literature? I found that a very important resource by Booth and others. Actually, it's a book that is available online, and I did a print screen of the one way that you can use our literature. It's mostly, there are various, I will focus firstly on the reviews. There are various ways that people analyze the data for, mostly for if it's a review. And for this book, they have given detailed information of the types of review that you can do with the literature that you have. Of course, now that will be treated as secondary, it will not be a primary data. So has different the systematic review, what you can see on your page, on your screen, network analysis, meta analysis. So this is just an over of what I was able to take a screenshot. But this is a book that I would encourage you, if maybe you are doing a systematic analysis or you are doing a literature review purposely for publication. This is a resource that I'd encourage you to use. My orientation, I know at this time that you have AI, people are going for AI. But if you choose to do a PhD or a master's, then you have to study because that will give you the skill set. AI will just maybe, it's a quick thing to check, maybe how do I do this? But just taking time to study and to read through will help you to become an expert. So this is a book. I'll share the references for that, and it has all the different type of reviews that you are able to look at. My training is I did my PhD in Indiana University in Bloomington, so my training in the West is more of you teach people where to find things, and I may not be able to do the nitty gritty, that's the fine details of the specific. So I'll give you a lot of resources. So this is one of the resources that I would encourage and I'll also share. When you are looking at literature, when you are focusing on literature and looking at the literature, I like these stages that Booth has explained, has given, which you can use the salsa stage. The first of it is what you did last week in your discussion. That is the search for the literature. Yeah, you covered that last week. And then the other one is the screening and the study selection, which we'll also try to work. I'll also do work on it today with you. So you are able to screen your research specific, yeah, so you're able to look at it mostly if you're doing a review. So you're taking that approach if you are doing any form of review, be it a scoping review, be it a systematic review, be it a meta-analysis, all the reviews. Purposely, you're doing the reviews for publication. Then you appraisal. Then you have the synthesis. That one of them is a bit critical and less descriptive. Then for the analysis is where you move from being descriptive of what you have, and now you focus more on trying to interpret your data, or what the material that you have. And so this is a very good procedure that you are able to follow. And if you have followed this procedure, then you are able even to cite. And it's also very helpful even for your reviewers, because you are able to show the systematic way that you followed. So I have shared that. So that is the book that is a resource that I believe will be very helpful if you're working on your literature review. It has a link. I'll share the link. It's actually this is a whole book, and it's publicly available. So if you are doing a systematic research, it has all the details and all the steps to follow. If you're doing a literature review, a scoping review, you have all the steps and all the processes that you can follow. So I will share the link with Aurelia, and depending with what you are working on, then you are able to review it. And so, and also I also like the book because it's a current. It was published in 2021, so the information that they have is pretty current. For literature management, now that you have your data that you extracted last week, the next step is, how do I manage this data, and how do I get to do the screening, the 4 stages that I have shown you. They are different, as I said, your purpose, the reason why, the why. Researchers will have the how, the why, the what, because they always they define for you the outcome that you're looking or expecting. And so the why will also help you decide on the approach you use. So for this session now, I look at the softwares that are available that you are able to use. The software there are several softwares that are available, and because they make it easier for you to manage your literature. And so you are not using the manual way of just putting your literature on a Excel document. And as I said, part of our training, this is how I've been trained. I've been trained to sometimes give the resources. And so during my preparation, I came across this page by the University of Oxford. They have a very good list of all the softwares that are available. For the purpose of this training, I will dive deep on Zotero and Citavi, sorry. But I want us to just skim through what is available, and then just for you to have an idea of all the softwares that are available, and the pros and the cons of these softwares. And when we talk about the software, so if I have downloaded my work, then I'm able to import into these softwares, and then we'll have like a better description on how to manage it. So I will stop. I will first click on the link. This is the page. This is the page I was talking about, and it has different type of softwares, and this is also a link that I will offer that you are able to look at. We have EndNote. You have EndNote Online. One can be an app, and that you can download as an app, and the other you can use it where on the web. Then we have Zotero, we have Mentory, and also you can add Citavi to it, and it gives you even the compatibility, how you're able to use it either with Word, or how you're able to capture. Are you able to, for each of it, is it available or do you have to pay? most of these ones are available, which is it's part of it. Citavi, the one that also discussed, because they find it easy. It's not available. It's you have to pay for it, but we'll still discuss how you can always manage these things that you have sometimes have to pay for them. Then you can capture. It gives the different ways, the availability, their compatibility with word processor. It shows you which one is more compatible, maybe with MS Word. For instance, the EndNote is only compatible with MS Word, but it may not be compatible with the rest. Then we also have how you're able to capture the documents, which one allows a PDF, which one does not allow a PDF. The citation, it gives you its compatibility, even what's available, what the limits, and also the availability for the citation. You are sharing, can you able to collaborate? So maybe if you're working on a project, and even collaborate, for instance, even with your supervisor. Most of them, mostly the current versions, they have an AI integration. Then also gives you the pros and the cons of each and every software. We have the EndNote, the Zotero. So for instance, for instance, for EndNote, they'll have to be, some of it you may require some subscription. So it gives you the pros of each, and of each and of every software. Why this is important, and I found it important, is because I remember the first time that I went for attended when I was working on my I think it was before I did my dissertation. I remember attending a meeting that was being conducted by the library at that time, and they just gave us maybe EndNote and Zotero, and there was not much information about it. And so I found that very helpful, because it does give you some of the options that are available. We also have the Max QDA that you can use. So I'll share the link, and you're able to look at the different softwares, see the pros and the cons, and see which one may work for you. Max QDA could also be there. Is also another option. So moving on, I want us to look at the exact way of using the specific softwares, and how you can use the softwares to manage your work. And I'll start with Zotero. I'm hoping that you are able to see. So already I'll keep coming back to you. Can you see my screen? Are you all able to see Zotero on your page, on your screens? Because I'm using...
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So I'll start with Zotero. So you have Zotero is this is one thing. The thing of the purpose when you learn these softwares, it's the best way is, most of the time, maybe if you're in a private university that has good libraries that they're able to train these softwares, then you're able to get the training. But if you are not in a university that is able to train this, most of it you learn on your own. The best thing that I've learned with Zotero is that the best option that you can work with is make sure you synchronize it to your email. I've learned that the hard way, because I have been using it on a desktop only as an app. The challenge of doing that is that if you don't have access to that laptop, you lose all the information, all those references. But if you're able to synchronize it to your email, use your email. So when you have your app, you synchronize it to your email, then you are able to have, it's more like you have it as a OneDrive, and you're able to synchronize, to have all your research, your articles. And because of that, I've lost a lot of my articles. So for Zotero, there are different way of... The first way, you can always come here and import your data depending with where you have saved it. So if you import, you can always import, and once you import it, the data will be stored on the page. The other way you can, maybe if I'm just reading an article and I'm looking for information, the good thing about having a software is that, for instance, right now, I'm using, this is a new laptop. As I said, I'm doing a fellow. So this is a very new laptop. And so a new laptop to me, so I don't have much articles on this. So you're able to create groups on this. The library helps you to create groups. So for instance, if I just want to discuss to articles that have food security, then I'm able to add them on the food security. So I'll come here and the food, I have created, for instance, a folder on food security. So far I have two. So from here I can still add more. Is it a journal? Is it a book? I can add it manually. Alternatively, I can still come here to file and import the file, and then you're able to do all this grouping. The grouping will help you. If maybe I need a group on just my introduction section, I'm able to create those groups on my introduction section, have all the literature on my introduction section. Other than the references, the good thing about Zotero, it allows you to make some notes. So if I need to add a note item, you're able to use that and type all the notes that you have for your article. So this is the page where so if I click on that, it give me all the notes that I have been able to write and just my own findings. So it's a very easy way to have all your references and even the notes that you need. The other part of it is that you're also able to synchronize it also to a Word document, so you don't have to click all you don't have to do it manually to add your references to the Word document manually. The function also that the best also option of this is that, for instance, if I had downloaded different files from maybe I had a file from Google Scholar, I had a file from Web of Science. And the good thing with Zotero is that you are able to come here and maybe create a folder, like that empty folder. And then all these files from different databases, I'm able to combine the files. So for instance, in Web of Science, I was able to extract 20 files. Then from Google Scholar, I was able to extract 40 files. Then I'll show that all that in Citavi. That's why I'm not doing so much on Zotero. So you're able to combine them. So it allows you, you're able to create a folder and you combine files for a specific topic or files for currently we are working on a project on comparing definition of food security and food poverty in sub-Saharan Africa and Europe. So I'm able to combine files for sub-Saharan in one folder, even though they are from different databases, by importing them in Zotero. And also my notes, I'll have all the notes that I need. Then my library will always show me all the articles that are found in Zotero. In the interest of time, please write your questions, then we can handle them later. How do I know how to use it? As I said, most of you could be in a public university. The best thing is you can always watch a YouTube. I learned how to work on Zotero honestly by YouTube. When I attended the training done by library staff, they only said there is EndNote, there is Zotero. So I went on YouTube and I still do it even now. If I need I know in the age of AI you want to do, AI will give you tactics, but if you really want to practice and know all this, everything else that is you can do with all these files. Maybe you may take a class, or the University of YouTube is also very helpful. It may take 10, 20 minutes, but it will help you know how to manage it, to work on with it. Moving on, I'll move on to the other one, which is Citavi, and I'll show you the easier way. Whatever I'll do in Citavi, you are able to do it in Zotero, you're able to do it in EndNote, you're able to do it in MarkQDI. It's just that that's what I'm using currently, and so I have a lot of files in it, so it's more helpful if instead of me just speaking. So whatever I'm doing, you can still do it in Zotero. You can do it in whichever software that you choose. What you can do, you can just go on YouTube and just watch and see how do I maybe do whatever I could see Josephine do on Citavi. How do I do it in Zotero? So whichever software you have, you are able to do what I'm able to do. I'm doing. So let's now look at Citavi, and it will be a way of how you can manage your data. And I'll start from the start with this. Okay, where is Citavi? From maybe someone who has never done it. Whatever I'm able to do here, you can do it anywhere. So if I want to create a project, I can either create a new project, just an example. As I said, even with Zotero, you can do it on a local project. That one will only apply on your desktop, or you can do it as a cloud project. At least why I would prefer a cloud project is because it's online. So if I log in to Citavi wherever in a different machine, I'm able to use it, and also it allows sharing. For all this software, I would encourage look for the cloud option. That could be synchronizing it with your email. That's the best option. So how do we, let's see, I want to see, let's use this document that I have. We can create a new file. Let me see. We'll have to give it time to open, but I wanted us to just to show you exactly what you can do. So let's create a new project, and it's easier to show you that way. And then we can call it, I can have a title. So I'll use my crowd literature. Let's call it Friday. So we have the new file. Thank you, a lot of us, so it's taking its time to create. But so I talked about importing the document. So I can come and just try to import data or some files. So for Citavi, it uses the RS files. So that's what I will use. So come to RS. Then I'll browse. I want to show you how you can combine the files. These are the files that I have. You can use a file that is, let me see, a file that will be helpful. So for instance, for this, this is a file for Africa. Yeah. So I have it's already combined. Okay. So I'll if this file for Africa had RS in 1 to 5 and RS, these files, one article 1 to 500 articles, then Article 501 to 790. If they were not combined, then I would have been able to just upload 1 to 5, and then still in the same page, upload 500 to 790. So this file actually, the 790 was, all of it was uploaded from Web of Science, extracted from Web of Science, and we used Citavi to combine it. So that's what I meant. So you're able to, for instance, download. For instance, when we are downloading this website, these articles, we are only allowed to download up to 500. So we had to start again 501 to 790. So if you want to combine them, then you are able to upload them on the Citavi, and then you combine it. But this is already combined. So you open next. So you'll be able to pull all your articles. Now you have all your articles. Then I'm able to add. I'm able to add the projects. Now, all this is 790 journal articles that I have, and then that's the beauty of having a software, because you are able to manage quite a chunk of articles just in one page. And then from here, I'm able to select all and just know type of the articles. It shows me that I have all the articles are 790. They are all at journals. So that is one way of managing, you're able to have all your articles for your project. I'm using this for a systematic review that you are working on. And so this is just for the section for Sub-Saharan Africa. The other sections that we have, which we are able, remember when I was showing you with Zotero, is being able to, I need to move that, to make notes on your article. So for instance, I have this article. So you are able to read the article. For this is an abstract. I'm able to read on that page, and I'm still able to make my notes. So if I need to make a direct quotation, you are able to make a direct quotation. If you just need to make to write like a summary, the same way you can write you can just write your notes for if you are reading the article. So it helps you to review the article, and at the same time you're able even to view the whole article. If maybe you are reading the whole article, you're still able to view it on the same page. So that's also, those are the what's the options that are available. And so if you click on the knowledge will give you all the articles, all the notes that you have been able to create. So as I said, whatever I'm able to do in Citavi, you can do it in Zotero or any other software. So you're able to make notes on whichever article that you choose to use, the article that you select. So there's something I want to do on Citavi. If you're doing a systematic review, I'll go back to my folder, then I'll go back to Citavi. So if you're doing a systematic review, the first part, this is just from what I was working on. The first part is, this you can find in any article, is I have all the records. For instance, for this study, I had 154 articles from Europe, 815 from Sub-Saharan Africa. Then the first part is I'll screen the titles. I'll show you how to do that. Then after you screen the title, you're able to see, okay, because I have my topics, which one have I excluded? You can see that, and which ones remain for the second part of screening, which is the abstract screening. Then I read the abstracts. After I read the abstracts, and I'm like, okay, this is the number of these articles that I have. After reading the articles at the abstract, they do not match my criteria, or they are not eligible. And then after that, you can have the articles for analysis. This is important because even when you're working on your research article, you're required to show the process that you used to screen your articles. And so now that I have shown you that, then you can go back to Citavi and see how can we play around with all these softwares and how these softwares can help us, what is available. For instance, for this platform, it has groups and also it has categories. So I'll start with the groups. What I can play around is the groups. For instance, I can before the first one we said is we screen for duplicates. So I'm able to come here and select, come to references, and request them to show me all the duplicates. My experience with it is that sometimes you may still have to go through and see whether you're able to see all the duplicates. Just for Riga, personally, I still, when I'm reviewing the titles and the abstract, I still check whether I can see I'm able to see whether we have any duplicates. Then the other part is now I'm able to create, I can create groups. I can decide I will exclude, and then I can decide I will include that article. That's one thing. Then maybe depending on what I'm interested in, this is very random. Let's first just do the exclude and the include. Okay, no. So for instance, if I read this article and I feel that, and I realize, okay, it doesn't match, then you are able to come here and assign a group. And I could say it is in the exclude, so add it to exclude, that is okay. So that one will all move to exclude. But the best way of making sure that you don't delete, okay. The best option to make sure you don't mess with the first, with what you've already imported is always, this is what I always do, is create, some people will say duplicate. Personally, duplicate may confuse me. With all this is, you really work how you find what works for you. My favorite quantitative teacher who helped me understand statistics is the one who taught us I'll teach you how to drive a car. I'll not teach you the engines and all those things. I'll just teach you how to drive. Sometimes you just need to learn what you need to use at that time. So even for this Citavi or Zotero or whatever software, sometimes you may need to learn what you need to use for your dissertation and the other things you learn as you move on. So I could have, just to make sure I have the original, I have journal articles. So it's always good to create, to have the originals that have not been touched, and then you can have a select all, assign group, journal articles. So you're able to have, this is your original corpus, and then this is the one that you are able to work with. So with that, in short, you are able to, you can now move these articles in different groups. Exclude that. So I could come to Abdi. I'm just being very random because the main thing is just teaching you how you are able to use these softwares to manage. So I've moved that to include. Then after reading maybe the title and the abstract, I feel, okay, this one I can include. Then you can just assign. It's already assigned. So I could come here and assign a group and say that include, like that, right? Okay, I need to include it. Nothing on include, journal article. So this is just one way of how you can use this you can use the software, and any article and some more articles in exclude. So once you have maybe the groups, okay. Once you have the groups, you are because I don't want to waste a lot of time doing that. This was just for me to show you. So I can go back to an existing document, then I've shown you how to do it. Then the other way we can do, I'll show you the ones that have all the inclusion, and I can show you how to export that. The other option is the category. The category is very helpful, mostly if you are writing and you can start with this. Will have the introduction section. Then you can say, okay, let me have another category. Maybe that's the methods. And then you can have another category. And then I'll say, okay, this will be the discussion. Then from here, the introduction, I could create another subcategory. So this one I can say is problem, an overview. So when you have all your articles, then you are able to assign them to either of this. Either you can come here and decide assign a category. I can assign it to the introduction, and so that will then you're able to you're able to assign the articles to the categories, and that is what most people will use for their research article. The only thing you have to know, mostly for Citavi, if you have to change the references, you're not able to, if you use this format, if you choose to use this format for your paper, this Citavi for your paper, then you can only do the changes on the software. Personally, when I was working on my dissertation, I was trying to make my life easy. I didn't synchronize the software to my Word document. That's how I didn't do it. So it was easier for me that way. I still had my references on Zotero, and I knew how to always, as I type my work, I will always have my in-text citation and the references. It was easier for me. That was my easier way. So make sure just work with what works for you. It's not cut and paste. So you don't have, some may find this easy, some may not find this whole process easy. How do I learn how to do it? I'll still say for details and the nitty-gritty, you'll still have to do the University of YouTube, or you can go to some libraries. They have the specific softwares and they're able to train you on the specific ones. So I'll give an example of a project that is already there. So once you have all that information and you have created the groups, what do you do? I'll look at this project. How else now can I work it out? Okay, this will not help me. Sorry. I'm going to see a project that has all the groups so that it's much easier. Give it time to open. So the good thing is that you have a recording. Come on. Where am I? Where are the objects? Come on. Sorry about that. I thought I had the one that has all the say. So I found this process easier than giving you notes. I understand what's happening. I'm still in categories, sorry. I found me using this presentation to be much easier if I just demonstrate than if I just if than just giving you the notes. Understand why I had the issue. So that's the approach that I have chosen, because I wish you are lucky somebody is taking you through all this, because some of us I remember, as I said, somebody just told me we have Zotero and we have Web of Science, so you can use either. So for instance, for this project, I have excluded 8 articles. So those are the articles that I've excluded. So you and then these are the articles that have met the eligibility criteria. So it's easier because now you can just select the articles that you feel have met, and then you are able to export them, right? So now you have cleaned, it's more like you have cleaned what you don't need, you have removed the duplicates, you have excluded all those that are not eligible, and then you are able to export. You still export as an RS document. So this I can still export. The 807 references, I had imported it 15, but right now I have done the screening and this is what I need. So we have RS next, and then you're able to decide where you need to save it. So that's the beauty also of having softwares. They make this much easier. And so when I'm conducting my analysis, then I'll only work with 807 rather than the 815. At the same time, you're able still also to export the files that you have been able to exclude. So you still have a document showing that. The other category, there are people who may choose to go the exclusion through the categories, which is a good way also, because it does also allow you to have the subcategories. So maybe I can say for here, I excluded it. Why? Then here, I'm able to explain why. So that may be helpful for you so that you're able to give reasons why you excluded them, and that may be better for me than even using a Word document. So that's the beauty of using softwares to manage quite a huge chunk of your information or your data. Now I want now to move on to, so that is whatever I've been able to do with Citavi, and the other options, it's all that I've discussed, is not the end. So you can even add an article manually. So if you add you have to have an identifier for it. So all this, now that I have done all that, you are able, I hope you can now go to, as I said, I may not give you everything, but you can now go back to, because now you know, oh, there is this option, there is Zotero, there's all this option. You can spend some time on anywhere that you are able to learn. As I said, AI will give you just the overview, but personally, what works for me is just sometimes spending time on YouTube and just listening. If there are classes, if you have a library that you can consult a librarian, they will also help you. The main thing is knowing how to do it well. I think you can always play around with all these options. The good thing, I'm dealing with doctorate and master students, so I know this is something they can figure it out. So Let's now close that and move on. Now that we have used the softwares, the other option that we use to manage our data, which I really use right now, is Excel. Excel will help you. We have done the Citavi, we use the Zotero, the software to make the notes. So all the detailed notes that I need from an article, I personally use them. So I'm giving you the format that we use. I write all the notes in the softwares, all the quotations, I have them in the software. Then the beauty about an Excel will help you you are able to have like the main themes. One way, for instance, for this one, let's see. Okay. For instance, if I can have, this is one format that you can use Excel. So I already have my articles in a software, but I need to move from just writing notes and creating. I need to do more with my articles. So you can just copy paste literally from your articles, the year, the theoretical framework. Mostly if you're working on an introduction, the type of the study. And what you can see here, I have a filter. So imagine if I have all the articles and I have the year, then I'm able to see. It's a very good way of seeing what were the theoretical frameworks that were being used. If I filter by year in maybe 2021, 2023 on this topic, maybe the topic was food poverty, and I have all the articles here. So we have the year, the other theoretical framework, we have the research method, the research design, the target population, the instrument. It's a very good also option of maybe the instrument they are using. I was working on food poverty, and I realized most of the articles that have been studies that have been done in Europe, they're using instruments from the US. So I would put that questionnaire here and see the instrument that was used by this article, the instrument that was used by the other. And so this can help you give a backup to your work if maybe you choose to use that instrument. So this is also you still have it's not a different way. You still have your articles in your Zotero, but maybe I'm working on the introduction section. And I have found in my groups, this is what I'm working on in my introduction section. So I'm moving these articles here for further analysis. Then here I have the main findings from each and the article. If I was trying to design a study, then these are the gaps that I have found, as many columns that you may find useful. This is pretty much something that you can copy and paste. We say if you're working on a PhD, it's a labor of love. So there are a lot of time you may have to spend on your work, but this will be much helpful. Why I like it also because it's something that I can always go back to. As for Zotero, maybe if all these softwares, maybe I have all this folder, but this folder has so many articles. So here I have the articles that I'm pretty much working on, right? And it gives me a quick skim through the main findings of the specific articles. The other way that also you can use Excel is maybe the themes. So I'm able to have an article maybe on food poverty, and I know the main themes that are in food poverty, maybe is vulnerability, there is climate change, there is social welfare, there is policies. Then I have articles, which of these articles that I have maybe are on, they have discussing vulnerability, but how is vulnerability handled? Some of it could be economic challenges, unemployment, illness. So those are the things that have made them vulnerable to food poverty, COVID-19. So so the same articles you're able to cluster the articles with their themes. Then I have this one that discusses climate change. Maybe this one is still climate change, but it's in form of famine and floods. Then the other article, John, these are very random articles, they're not real. We have John, they have discussed social welfare, but John and Paul, they are discussing it in form of food banks, Were and others in form of food assistance, Bets in form of food pantry. So they are the same articles, but the same themes, but the approach they have used to describe. So you're able also to combine, to cluster your articles. Remember, Zotero has all these articles with the groups, but now you are now going into the details. This is what I really want, the main themes. Then from what I have read, where do I see a gap? What is missing? Or what is the future direction? And then any insight that I have found. For instance, the study I'm working on, the major insight is that COVID-19 has really brought a new, it's now become a big issue on food poverty. So that's the new insight that you may not have found before prior the pandemic, right? So then any new insight that you find. So this is also a good way that I'm able to skim through what I really need. And pretty much even when you are writing, this is what you may find yourself working more on the themes than even the notes that you took. So on the Excel, you're not writing the detailed notes, but you are writing the main themes. So the same with hunger. So I can have, why I like Excel, I can have themes on these. These are the themes for this. For instance, now I have for barriers for COVID-19, this other who discussed the structural barrier, the other physical, how was physical discussed by this. So it's more of, now you're using Excel for the themes that you need, the specific themes that you need, depending with the topics that you're working with. So here you are not writing paragraphs. You are literally, it's more of your interpretation. It's the main themes. It's more of your interpretation, but the topics, and it's very helpful when you're working on the discussion, when you're working on introduction. I found this very helpful when I was working on my PhD. I worked on buprenorphine with a treatment, so I'd have all the articles and the main things on the introduction to buprenorphine, and this is the barriers. And so that was my way of working, as I said. And if you have the filter, then you're able to play around with the filter options. So personally, how I work with this is that I combine the software and the Excel. In the wake of AI, people want AI to do everything. Past job, when you get your certificate out here, people don't care about the paper much. They care about the skill set. So it's good when you spend time doing all this because it helps you build skill set. And if you go to other parts of the world, you may find them using different softwares. So if you have trained yourself to use EndNote, then it will be easier if you move to a place where they're using MacQDA. It's the same thing. It's the same thing that you use to learn that software. So train yourself. It will be much easier instead of saying, "Oh, AI will do it for me." No. PhD is a labor of love. So the additional software that I want us to look at is the Web of Science. It's a pretty easy software. I don't think I would call it a software really, but it's a page that you can use to now. With now this, let me see whether I'm able to. It shows me I have to stop sharing, so I'm able to do that. Instead of stop sharing, allow me first to move to Vox Viewer. Vox, now that we have all these articles and we have the articles, we have excluded the articles that we felt they were not necessary, and now we need to do some form of analysis. There is one that I will discuss that I'm currently using. It's called the Vox Viewer, and what it does, it helps you to visualize your articles. For some of these, it may be paid for. I know for PhD, we may feel it's painful to pay, but what you can do, you can always come get as a group. If you have a writing group, pay as a group, and then you share the password. And that's an easier way, because sometimes it could be a monthly subscription of maybe 2,000 or one thing I've also seen with softwares, they do have some like discount for sub-Saharan Africa. So if they realize that's why you are searching, so don't stop using it if you feel like it's being paid for. It could be helpful if maybe you pool resources with each other and to make it easier. So Vox Viewer helps you to visualize the information, and it's an easy way to cluster and to see those things that maybe I was trying to show you in Excel. So for instance, now I'm trying to use the data that we have been working on in Citabo. So let me see. So I'm creating, allow you to go to create. I'll use bibliographic data because the data that I had is bibliographic. And then I got it from Web of Science. So I'll use Web of Science. I'll select that. Then the same data I was trying to show you is the one that I will use. So let's use sub-Saharan Africa. So I'll combine those two. I need the two sub-Saharan Africa. It's not an RS. I know we have an RS, but for this I've already selected it, so we move on. So with this, you are able to play around with what you need. For now, maybe I may need first to see the keywords that we have. Let me do fractional counting because it will give me just those that allow me to see. So let's give it 10 and next and next. So this one gives me all the keywords. So from all the 815, these are the major keywords that you find. So you're able to visualize the major, these are the keywords. You have food insecurity and gives you, if I click on that, it shows me all the words that the things that feature with the food insecurity. If maybe I feel that is too much, I can still change my selection, select. Let's do something less chunky. The keywords. For instance, this for. So these are the main keywords that are in all the 153 articles. It shows me all the keywords. Then I'm able to have a map, and the map, for instance, food security will show me the food security. Each node shows you anything that is related to that node. Shows you everything that is related to it. Okay, let me move this. Can show me the density, network, visual, and with this also it shows you the years. What was the year? That is 2018. The themes that were there 2019. So I'm able to see also the progression of the progression of the theories or the themes or the words that they are using at that time. So this is one way of also, it's a way of visualizing your information. And when you look at here, you see it has the clusters. So cluster 1, these are the articles that are in cluster 1. It has 13 items. Cluster 2 will have all these items, and you can see the keywords in that cluster. Behavior, college, food insecurity, cluster 3, all that. So all that was a lot, like 153, then you are able to get what is the main keywords and even in their clusters. And then you are able even to analyze these clusters. Actually, you can even export all this to Excel. And when you export in Excel, you can easily see, okay, these are the clusters. What's the main theme with these articles and or with these clusters or with these groups. So this is also a very easy way of which I'm currently using to visualize data and even to cluster. There are different formats of there are different analysis that you can work on with this. You can check others, how or you can look at others. Next, maybe only 5 minutes. Only finish. Yes. So these are the only others that we have. So that's Box Viewer is also a way an easy option that you can use to, depending with your questions. Concurrence, that's the concurrence of other keywords. This one will focus more on the others, not just the keyword from any article. So for instance, for this, these are the only keywords for the other. Food insecurity, the COVID-19. So Voice Viewer is also a software that you can, I know it's a paid one, but it's also available and helpful when you are thinking of analyzing your data. Now that I have this available, let's look at Web of Science. Is it not allowing me? Because Web of Science is a page that you can also use to get you create a query, what you did last week, and it gives you, I'm trying to see whether I can go direct to you get a link and just take you to the Web of Science. Let's see, instead of trying to log in. It's a good also page, database that you can extract documents from. So this is a query that I have. It requires me to log in. I don't know why. Full Web of Science. Maybe I've been logged out. Okay. So it's also you have to create an account. The good thing with Web of Science, if I go to my presentation, you are not all these documents are showing you. We extracted them from the Web of Science, and then from even that Web of Science, which is a database, you are able to classify the articles that you have extracted into different categories. In all these categories, the articles that I have shown you, these are the categories. Some of them, some 48 were public environment, nutritional, diabetes, social science, interdisciplinary, environmental science. So have also Web of Science as a database. You have to create an account for some reason, maybe because I'm using an institutional machine, so it's past working hours. So maybe I'm not even, it could be an IT issue or not. I'm losing my rights, so I don't know why. The other option, okay, I loved working, just reviewing Dr. Rebecca. She has a YouTube that has she has done a lot of presentation on how you can use Excel, how you can do this. This is also a page that you can look at. When I was doing my PhD, sometimes PhD can be a lonely journey and also can have community, and also no one has so much time to teach you. So I would use some of these platforms. So that's one platform that I found useful. I struggle with platforms that push everyone to AI. I like platforms that teach you to build some skill set. And so that's why I liked her platform. The other platform is the reference formatting. I know all of you are master's students and PhD students, so you may not have issues with formatting and all that. But when I'm writing, I'll always go back to Purdue formatting. It helps me with, I use APA because I'm in public health. It just helps me know the current APA formatting that we are using, the in-text, the in-text. So it's just a good way. We have a lot on our mind, so sometimes you can't remember everything. So always use Purdue APA. Some of you are teaching undergraduate students. It's a good one to add it to your syllabus or to help give them so that they can train themselves how to do in-text citation. Because even though they manage all their work and they don't cite correctly, then that will be an issue. So Purdue, if you're in languages, use MLA, you can always write Purdue MLA, Purdue wherever. So this is a university somewhere in Indiana, but I like it because of how sometimes I need to remind myself, we're in 7th, this is the one that we're using. And it has all the references that you may need, right? So that is, you find you're using a reference that you normally don't use in normal days. So that helps you to just remind yourself how to cite it. So that's also one way. Another one that I needed to share, that is the Purdue APA, MLA, depending with what you use for your field. I use APA mostly. So all this, I'll just compile all these resources, mostly for the book and for what I had for the University of Oxford, that gives you an overview of the software and also give you all that. As I said, I did not have the what we are used to, the regular way of presentation where you have notes. I preferred teach me how to do stuff than telling me how to do it. That was the approach that I took. Questions? Because I may need to leave. I had requested to leave slightly earlier, but time for questions. I'm a teacher, so I talk a lot, so I can talk and talk. So I'm sorry, I kept the questions to the last part. Let's have questions.
Thank you very much, Josephine. Yes, let's have questions for Josephine. She has really taken time to take us through amazing tools. I hadn't heard of Citavi, so I'm very happy to learn more about it. So let's have some questions.
Thank you, Dr. Josephine.
Yes, Rose.
Yes, kindly.
Could
you give us the title of that book? There is a book you've talked about. I've not gotten the title.
I'll share the link of the book. I'll share with the folder. The title is Systematic Approaches to Successful Literature Review. But I can even share the link. Some people just want stuff there and there. Let me see. Where is the chart? This is your chart. So I can share the link. Got it? So that's the link of the book. I can also share the link of, I believe in giving people resources, then because we are very interdisciplinary, so I may not have everything that you need, but if I give you resources, then you can look them over. So that's the link for the software. And then I've given you the link that you can find for the University of Oxford. The library has the different softwares. We can also give you also the link for APA, that is for the formatting. That's for APA. I think you have all you have everything now. It's
Thank
everyone
you. Thank you.
has access to all those links. Yeah. So that book is very helpful for the reviews, different forms of review, and how to do it. And as for me, who is out here in the job market, it's good to get your papers, but what people care for out here is your skills. So just push yourself to get the skills, and reading that book would be helpful. Thank you, Rose. Any other question?
God bless. Thank
Doc.
Hello.
Good evening, Doc.
Good evening.
Please, about the Citavi, it's like it's only compatible with Zotero. I don't know if you are also used to, if you are also used to Mendeley, how can you use it in combination with Mendeley?
Personally, I've never used Mendeley. I've never used EndNote myself. It all depends with what you are looking for. I don't think you are combining the softwares. You're using the tools that are available in this software to work for you. Personally, right now, Citavi has what I need. That's why I'm using it. It's more advanced than Zotero. So in Europe, I'm currently in Europe, so they use Citavi. They feel it's more advanced than Zotero. So I will not say how you, maybe what you have seen me do, go to Medley and see what I would advise. Go to Medley. I've never used Medley or EndNote. Go to Medley and search whether you are able to combine documents, whether you're able to create categories, or whether you're able to put them in groups. The language could be different, but maybe all that I was able to do, you are able to do it. I believe these softwares can allow you to make notes in them. And so all the things that I've been able to do, see whether you can write like a note of what I was able to do and see whether those tools could be available. Go to the tool, go to your reference or the file of your Medley. And if you don't get it, you can always go to YouTube and see whether Medley can allow you to combine and also know the type of file it has. Like as I said, Citavi used RS files, so it's good also to know the type of file. So those are just functionality that you can use, but I believe even Medley has those functions. So what I was trying to use Citavi is to show you what you can do in this software. You can screen documents by creating groups. You can screen documents by creating categories. So check whether Medley can allow you to create categories, can allow you to create groups. Just check that. And you can do that on YouTube, maybe. Yeah. Have I answered your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope
yes, please,
you understand.
Yes, please. Thank you, Doc.
Yes, yeah, just check all what I've been able to do, create groups, put your references into groups, put your references into categories. And then you're able to export now the specific categories. Make notes, have quotations. Just can I sort them by references? Can I sort them alphabetically? So just check whether all your software can be able to do that. I just used Citavi, but because that's what I'm using currently, but maybe the softwares that you have can still do all that. I hope that makes sense. So most of your software can still do it. It's just, it may be situated differently or using different names. And YouTube is our friend. We call them the University of YouTube. Yeah. And for the Gen Z, they like AI, but AI, you can say, can it help me? Can you search? And then you can train yourself on YouTube. the other question.
Thank you, Doc.
Welcome. Already it seems there are no questions.
Okay.
No. There's a
Thank you.
message, but I'm not able to read this message.
A message on the chat?
It's just good evening. It's just good evening.
Oh.
Yeah, so what I will do, I'll just combine what is helpful from my slides and share.
Yeah.
But I feel like the video is more helpful to everyone than my slides. But I'll just combine what was helpful. But I feel like the video was more helpful. But I'll still share.
I think even the slides are helpful for as reference. So whatever you can share also there is fine. Together with these links. Because yeah.
Okay.
So thank you very much, everyone, truly for being here. But more so, thank you very much, Dr. Josephine, for really giving of your time to really provide some good insights that will help people manage their literature well. The journey of a researcher is not easy, but it is not futile. So all these skills that we are talking about, managing literature, even in the context of AI, these skills are so important because even if you join a consulting practice, you will still be expected to do desk reviews and all these. So all these skills are amazing skills to learn. And thank you very much, Daktari, for your time. We will share the recording and the slides that Doc will share by Monday latest. So you will have everything on Ada Africa platform. Those in the Africana Journal Club, we will also share there. So you will get everything you need.
Thank you for your time and thank you for having me. I'll just ask for an email address so I can just send them to an email.
Okay. Kagendo will sort that. So then you can be able to send. But from us, we want to say thank you and everyone please have a good evening and a lovely weekend. God bless. Karista, before you close, please copy the chat with the links, just in case there are people who are interested in looking at the links tonight. Please copy the 3 links that Dr. Josephine has shared.
Okay.
Thank you.